Greetings, humans. I'm Andre. Welcome back to the Windmill full of corpses. I'm here with the wonderful Shani Friedman from the progressive death metal band Structural. How are you doing? It's great to have you here.
Thanks, good. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good.
Cool.
Okay, to get right into it, obviously, what I want to ask you about your new album, Decrowned. It was just released just over a couple of weeks ago, I think. How
Mhm.
has the response been so far, and how do you feel to have the album released?
So first of all, we have worked pretty long time on this album. It was like 4 or 5 years, and we went through a very long process of pre-production. So it's obviously I'm so happy to finally share it with everyone. So we're really waiting for this moment. And so far, the responses are pretty great. It seems that people really like it, which obviously it's
Good to
great.
know. I mean, I'm certainly one of the people who really liked it. Um, so I'm always interested when I listen to music that I really love, how it's actually created, how it comes together. So would you be able to give me some insight into the creative process? How do you write an album like this? How do you approach it? And then how does recording and everything go?
Yeah, so in this album, so it's usually starting from the guitars in this band specifically because our music is very guitar based. So me and Tomer, the other guitar player, we writing basically the entire songs with like very simple idea for a drum part and like we compose the entire song and then the rest of the band, each one had his own parts. Obviously, the vocals is a very important component, and the drums also. And actually, after we finish writing all the songs, we sat with a musical producer and we go through everything with him and try to find ideas to add some stuff or change things. In some of the songs, we actually changed quite a lot. And we really worked on everything, every hit on the drum, every note. We just went through everything, and this is why it took so long. But eventually, the final result, when we got to the final result, we like very happy from what it turned to be. So yeah, this is generally the process.
Mm-hmm. I would say I can definitely hear the fact that it's guitar driven, the composition, because one thing that really struck me about the album is that you don't just have guitar solos, you actually have guitar leads like everywhere. And I think that would probably be hard to put together if you have a song that you would like that you wouldn't have the guitar leading it. I'm not sure how to put it because it just feels so natural how it starts. I think like right on the first song, uh, Your Damnation, it
Yeah,
it kicks off right with a guitar lead, and it feels so natural, like it's there. Um,
yeah. I
so yeah,
think this is like a difference from the previous album that we invested a lot of work in creating all these leads and all the layers. Like, a lot of the layers in the album are also guitar parts. Uh, yeah, so we really put a lot of thought into these things.
yeah. As a listener, I really appreciate that effort because I don't like the mentality of people who just want a new album every 2 years. Because if you just get an album every 2 years, it's not gonna be that much of a surprise. But for this one, when I heard the first song and I kind of had my expectations set from metacognition, it just felt like there's so much that's new. It's bigger. It's got more layers. It feels like a step up, and that's what makes a new album release so exciting, that you don't really know what's gonna hit you.
Thanks.
Um, so speaking of a comparison with metacognition, would you say there's anything about the compositional or recording approach that you actually did differently for this album compared to that one?
And the main difference is that it's slightly different people. So metacognition, when we wrote it, we had a different guitar player. So obviously a different person with different musical influences. So it changed a lot. The process was very similar, but it was shorter, I think. The entire pre-production process was much shorter. And in this album, we really went to a lot of details. We were more thorough with the entire process.
Okay, that's nice. Shorter and more thorough. It means you can already work much faster.
Yeah, I hope the next release is going to be less than 5 years from now.
Yeah, well, what can I say? Looking forward to hear it. So structural, I've seen it described as progressive death metal. I've seen it described as technical death metal. There are all these genres, labels flying about. Is there any way you would specifically describe the music in terms of genres?
I think pretty much the definitions are pretty accurate. We're kind of melodic, technical, a little bit progressive death metal. Yeah, we don't really sit into each like genre specifically. We are not a technical death metal per se or melodic death metal, but we combine a lot of both genres.
Yeah, I like that because I had parts in the album that I felt I could compare to like Cataclysm or Amon Amarth that was very in your face, straightforward death metal or melodic death metal, and then there were more complex parts that I was particularly like some of the tapping leads that I was thinking this sounds like Beyond Creation, and to hear sort of all those things come together is very exciting if I have a more broad genre preference than just one niche. Um, so speaking of the fact that it's technical, I imagine it's also really challenging to actually play. Do you actually keep in mind how difficult it is going to be to play certain parts when you write, or vice versa? You write them and then force yourself to learn to play them? Like, how does the technical aspect flow into your writing skills?
Yeah, so I usually write them before I actually sit down and play the entire song, but I have a good idea of what is within our abilities and what is pushing it too much. Usually we rehearse the song, like we rehearse the song a few times before we record the album. So there was like maybe one specific part that we decided to change a little bit because we just figured out it's a little bit too much. But for the most part, we just keep practicing until it's perfect, and we keep in mind when we are writing the music that we also need to play it one day and enjoy it.
Yeah, that's really nice because I've seen like posts or mentions from guitarists, I think mostly before that, where say like note to self, write easier lead parts. So I imagined probably in terms of technical music, that's where it most often shows up. Um, so which song would you say was the biggest challenge, either to write or to record and play?
um I think for playing, the most challenges songs for me are maybe My Grass is Greener, because it's pretty technical. Also, we have a song in the album called Ascetic. This is a really tough one in terms of guitar parts. Yeah, I think these are pretty much the rest of the songs are each song has his own challenges. Some of them are more technical, and some of them are more time signatures and like more harder to remember and memorize. But yeah, mostly the really tough lead parts or tapping is the things I usually need to practice the most. Yeah, so in this song I have quite a lot of it.
It's interesting to hear, because for me as a listener, I think the one that struck me as most technical was actually Rebirth, but I don't know if
Rebirth is
that
a
was.
very intense one. Yeah, it's one of the hardest songs to play on the album.
I think it might have also been the blast beats that actually made it seem, I guess, more intense and faster. But
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, the
actually on the
drums is
drums.
a whole different story. If you ask our drummer, he probably give you a different answer because some songs have more blast beats and technical drumming, and some of them again have more time signature, which is also often pretty hard to play.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what I like about that is that, and this applies to drums and also to guitars, is that even though you have all these very challenging, very technical elements, it's not like a straightforward technical death metal band like Blast Beat Driven, where you can see that the musicians are actively just trying to display how good they are. Like, it really feels the songs are made there to be enjoyable, to really get the listener hooked, and then the technical parts are tools that you can use for that. I really appreciate that in a
Yeah,
musician.
thanks. I'm happy you're saying it. It was our purpose during the pre-production process. We really thought about it a lot to make it like fun to listen to.
Yeah, it is. The whole album struck me like from the first listen. It's hard not to headbang. I would not hesitate to include your songs in Try Not to Headbang compilations.
Thanks.
Okay, so you have a new lineup that was recently announced or actually was the lineup completely announced? I'm not sure if I saw any official post with it.
We only changed the drummer, so we have a new drummer now, and the rest of the band members are the same band members for the last I think 4 years.
Okay. Okay, so did the new drummer record this album, or did he
No,
join the
he
band?
only joined after the album was already recorded.
Okay, okay, yeah, because I was interested to know who is it I'm actually hearing playing. Um, okay, I think that's pretty much everything I had to ask about the creative process. I'm really interested in the stories behind the videos. I've seen all 3 videos you put out: Your Damnation, My Grass is Greener, and The Earth Has Rested. Do you have a favorite out of these 3 videos?
Um, wow, it's a good question. I think Your Domination and The Earth Has Rested are the ones we put the most amount of work into. My Grass is Greener is more like a half playthrough, half video clip. It's more, but yeah, it was very challenging to film Your Damnation and The Earth Has Rested. As you can probably see in the videos, we are in different locations that are a little bit challenging, but it was a fun experience.
Do you spend a long time going location hunting?
Um, we spent a lot of time thinking about it, but once we had a good idea, we pretty much locked on it. In both cases, just someone suggested like the abandoned like house we filmed Your Domination when we got the idea to shoot there. We went for it. We didn't really visit there before we shoot the video because it's very far from where we live. But we saw a lot of pictures and we have a pretty much good idea of what we can do there.
Okay. And specifically about the Your Damnation video, I wanted to ask, there are all these effects of flames and lights in the video that I thought added a lot to the whole experience. And there's also these scenes of like fires and a mob and everything happening there. Is there a narrative? Is there something to extract out of those, or are they just put there because they sort of go well with the theme of the song and the effect of the music?
Yeah, so we try to basically do something along the line of the lyrics of the song. So the song is very much talking about like excessive usage of power and people that take advantage of it. As so we it's pretty much straightforward with the intention of the lyrics. So we put a lot of footage of people like fighting with the police and demonstrating. Yeah, this is the main idea behind it.
It comes across really well, and for me, it really made me think. Okay, so now that I mentioned a bit of lyrics, would you be willing to give, I know you're a guitarist, not a vocalist. I don't know, do you participate into the lyric writing, or is that mostly Nadav's job?
So in this album, all the lyrics was written by our former drummer. So he wrote all the lyrics. Yeah, a drummer also writes lyrics.
Wow.
Yeah, but yeah, we talked a lot about the meaning of the lyrics. So yeah, we have a pretty good idea what each one of the songs is talking about.
I think for me, the one that was the most striking in terms of lyrical content was White Lily. I actually had to Google what it's about once I saw the lyrics.
Did you find the answer?
Yes, yes. So if I got it right, it's about a jet fighter pilot, a female jet fighter pilot in the Second World War, who died very young, and it's not really known how.
Yeah, it's about the first female ace pilot. So yeah, so her name was Lydia, and she was the first female pilot that struck down. I think ace pilot is someone who struck down 11 enemy pilots. So yeah, it's a very cool story.
Yeah, I think also a very tragic story.
Yeah, also obviously very tragic story.
Okay, so he wrote the lyrics, but would there be any specific song that you could point out that you would say the lyrics have any special meaning to you for?
I really like the lyrics of When the Earth Is Rested. When the lyrics was written, it was really during the COVID pandemic, so it was very it touched in the very like sensitive moment.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like this one. I also really like Your Damnation lyrics. It's kind of interact with also what happened today in Israel and probably many other places in the world. And yeah, I think these are my favorites. And also White Lily is the one that I really like.
Do you agree with the description of your music as being, in fact, very structural?
Yes, I guess. I guess all music is structural in a way, but yeah, ours is specifically very structural.
Yeah, I think the reason why that description resonates with a lot with me is because it's very rhythmic and very well articulated. So I can almost like see it in blocks and pieces in my head. So it's yeah, it fits with the description really well. Okay. So now that the album's out, would you be able to give any future plans for the band? Is there anything you have in mind? Live shows, maybe a tour? What does the future see for Structural?
So at we have a few local shows. Not all of them we announce, but we actually have one in 2 weeks. And we're coming to play Denmark in August in Nestved Festival. I hope I'm saying correctly. So this is the main plans for the future. We have a few things that we are planning, but nothing I can really tell now.
Okay, well, that's all I had to ask you. Thank you very much for your time and for your responses. I wish you best of luck with the future of the band and with everything you're planning. And thank you very much for your music.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for the awesome reaction.
Yeah, thanks for causing me to have that awesome reaction. Okay, well, thank you. And to everyone who's watching, thank you very much for stopping by. And we hope to see you back in the next video very soon. Corpses out.